most business owners have spent years building something that they love. And then when it comes time to sell, they have absolutely no idea about how they're going to do it and if they're going to get the deal of a lifetime or if they're going to be ripped off. So today's guest is the person that you speak to before you sign anything. This is the first in my Founders Specialist series. We're speaking to amazing individuals that support founders through their journeys to success. I'm Simpane Powell. I'm a fractional HR director, and I have spent the past 25 years in senior HR roles globally across 16 countries. I've partnered with lots of founders and leaders and supported employees to build workplaces that they actually love. I'm here, and the reason why I set Flight HR up was to challenge bad HR, and that's the HR that focuses on the policies and completely forgets the people. And it really does give my profession a bad name. So today I am here with Laura Hicks, and Laura is an ACA qualified fractional FD and CFO who helps business owners get a better way to sell their businesses. She is the founder of Clear Exit Partners and specialises in mergers and acquisitions alongside taking ethical, values-led organisations and freeing them from financial complexity so that they can grow and eventually exit on their own terms. Before that, she spent years as a financial leader and director, streamlining systems, building clear dashboards and guiding companies through acquisitions and major transitions. In simple terms, she translates messy numbers into confident decisions for founders who care about their people as much as their profit. So, Laura, I wanted to start at the heart of what you do. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what got you to where you are today.
Yeah, thanks. What an introduction. So I am an accountant. Apologies for that. I've been trying to kind of get rid of that label for many years. I qualified, I think, back when I was 24, which is 1 or 2 years ago. And I worked in practice for the first kind of 10 years of my career, and then decided I didn't want to be a partner and moved to the more commercial side because I love working with businesses and seeing how they kind of work and, you know, really being ingrained in their operations. And I've always had quite a keen interest on, okay, well, I'm doing the numbers, I'm doing the tax returns and audits and stuff, but what does that actually mean? You know, like, what are we doing with that information and how is the business performing? So I think, yeah, then moving over and working for some renewable power stations, that was interesting. And then an insurance company and kind of being part of the leadership team there. And then 6 years ago, right before COVID, I decided to go it alone as a freelance FD, now known as a fractional FD, CFO. And, you know, I wanted to work more closely with a range of business owners and kind of support them through the challenges that they were facing, becoming more profitable, and just kind of being a sounding board. I think that's what I found a lot. So, yeah, here I am. And now I'm had a keen interest in acquisitions and mergers. So part of what I do now is for myself looking to create a portfolio of acquisitions of my own. So I'm kind of, you know, seeing it from all angles.
Perfect. I think it's a very interesting pathway that you've taken to get to this point. So I've got a stack of questions that I wanted to ask you. And one of the ones that really kind of jumped out at me and I wanted to ask you was, you describe yourself as empathetic, where most people find finance very technical and cold. So what was the moment in your career that made you decide to work differently?
I think it's just how I've evolved over time and kind of through my own personal development, just realizing that I am a sensitive, empathetic person, and allowing that to kind of come out. Because I think that, you know, building rapport with founders and, you know, anybody around you
Yeah.
is so important. And just to kind of bring that out. And yeah, so numbers can be
Yeah.
very cold, as you've said,
Hmm.
and they don't have to be.
Yeah.
I think that my financial peers have kind of just created a monster in Excel spreadsheets
Yeah.
and everything death by PowerPoint, and kind of
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
I think just giving people what they need and making it simple,
Yeah.
and kind of bringing it to life, talking through the numbers, and they don't have to be scary. So yeah, that's been my approach.
I love that because it is scary, even all these years of doing budgets and stuff. And like people talk to you like you're just immediately meant to know where the glitch is in the numbers. And I'm looking at the Excel spreadsheet and it feels
Yeah.
foreign, You don't necessarily know what you're looking for. And I always feel like finance is a little bit magical like that. Like you've got people like yourself that literally can look into a spreadsheet and see every glitch and every number that's wrong, or look at formulas and know why they're miscalculating. And there's somebody like me going, I don't understand. So I love the fact that you've made it more empathetic and that you've simplified it, not because we're not intelligent, it's just not our wheelhouse. We're not the people for that. So we need somebody that comes along and makes it simplified, makes us understand.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. And I think also, even myself over time,
Mm.
whether it's an age thing, whether it's just I've kind of lost interest a lot in the detail.
Yeah.
So where I used to be more analytical and, I could look at tons of spreadsheets and know exactly what was going on, I'm not as interested.
Yeah.
So I think that I've come from that place, so I get it.
Yeah.
But I know what business owners need.
Got you.
And it's just to kind of make it simpler.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So, like thinking about the founders that you support and the people that you speak to, and obviously the audience that are going to watch this, what's one money mistake that almost every business owner makes in the 12 to 24 months before they sell their company, which would basically cost them a fortune or make them lose money on that sale price?
Yeah, I think it all comes down to planning, and it's something that a lot of business owners aren't particularly good at, whether they don't want to look in the future, whether they don't know how to, or where to get the support. Um, so I think for anybody selling their business, it's the same that you need to look at as just running a business and maximizing performance. All of the kind of key metrics and things that you should be looking at for sale are the same as what you need to do to run a successful business. So I do find that by not doing that, you are costing money, and you also you might go to the market tomorrow with a company, and then when the due diligence starts and buyers tend to look into things, and they're kind of picking holes in things and saying, well, you haven't got this information, you're actually working in the business full time, it can't operate without you, then that can lead to having a long tie-in of the owner,
Right.
or having to quickly put systems in place, which it's just about looking ahead, really.
Okay. And so if a founder hates numbers, because I suppose some of that comes from a founder not having an accountant or somebody like you to support them to pull all of that together, or just as we said earlier, just basically just not fully understanding, because it like you don't immediately think finance when you have this amazing idea in this business, right? You start it, you start moving, then you start figuring stuff out along the way. So if a founder hates numbers, hates an Excel spreadsheet, can't do a formula, what is the minimum financial dashboard that they should have, like every month, to not be flying blind?
Yeah. I mean, I like to keep it quite simple. As I said, making it something visual that they can understand. Colourful, if that. but looking at revenue and how that is going to be projected,
Yeah.
where we're getting that from, what do our contracts look like, what does our client forecast look like, making sure that we've got a proper handle on, cash now and a 90-day forecast.
Yeah.
So, it's about having a target. Okay, what does your working capital for 3 months look like? What do you need?
Yeah.
Versus what it is now, and just, tracking that. So that can be 2 numbers and then a variance.
Got you.
That they're looking at, I don't know, every month at least.
Yeah.
I mean, every week would be good.
Good,
But you don't
yeah.
want it. You don't want it too often, because then it's into micromanaging.
Yeah.
So I'd be looking at gross profit percentages. So yeah, you can literally have 1-page visual which has got 5 different metrics.
Got it.
And you've got a kind of, okay, we're doing well, green light, or you've got a red light.
Yeah.
Can keep it as simple as that.
Simple as that, and just see it. So you plug your numbers in, it gives you a red. You got some stuff to think about. Green, you're good to go.
Yeah, definitely. And there's some management accounts tools which add on to packages like Xero or QuickBooks or Sage.
Yeah.
That will do that. I mean,
Perfect.
Xero, etc. will give you some dashboards, but it's quite static. So if you're wanting to sort of do anything in the future, any projections, then these tools they're just plug and play really. They can be like £30 a month.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd recommend that, because then you've got the visual element for the owners, that they understand.
They understand it, makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Okay. And then say we have a founder that's listening right now. They're thinking about selling their business in the next 12 months to 5 years. What's one action that they can take this week to increase their sales price?
Yeah, I think talking to the right people is essential. I think looking at different areas of the business. I mean, there's all sorts of methodologies, which can be used as 7 pillars, which looks at dependence on who's working in the business.
Right.
Have you only got one major client? Those kind of things. Are you reliant on key people, suppliers? You can look at your profitability, what your cash is in the bank. So it's kind of, you can just break it down like a checklist. I mean, the owner could do it on their own, just to have an indication of where they're at. I really think also that to take a step back and work out what it is that they want.
Got it. Okay.
Because I think a lot of owners just have a magic figure, and then that's all they're focused on.
Right.
And it's usually £1 million plus.
Got it. Okay. So they've already set the figure in their head before they've done the due diligence.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, to think about, well, what does that mean? Do I need that much money? When do I need it? And what is important to me? Is it legacy? Do I want to make sure that the people in my business are looked after?
Yeah.
Do I want to make sure that everything kind of works without me, or am I just interested in the money? And I think that those kind of reflective times, that really helps to work out, okay, this is the end game.
Yeah, because it can change, right? I suppose it, like, if you're thinking I want to sell the business, and then the due diligence happens and you are still in the minutiae and you're wrapped in everything, that selling the business and thinking about retiring on a beach in St. Bart's looks different, because they still need you within the business. So then you're kind of a little bit stuck until the due diligence and that handoff is sorted. So I suppose it's thinking about all of those things as well, like how it pans out can be very different to the way you thought about it. I'm just going to get $1 million and
that's it, and then I'm off on day one, which I mean, I've rarely seen that happen. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen that happen. There's always a tie-in period, and the more involved in the day-to-day operations of the business that you are, then the longer that period can be. So I was speaking to a business owner the other day, and they are literally the business.
Yeah.
So, everything comes through them, nothing's systemized.
Wow. Okay.
They are, I mean, they're stressed.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they've done it for so many years, but I see that all the time. But to just be, can the business run without you for a month? Or can you walk away for a week and it still operates without you?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a common one.
People forget that. They forget how integral they are.
Yeah. And that can devalue a business.
Right, because sometimes they become the bottleneck as well, right? It limits the growth, it limits all of these things because they haven't taken that time to put the systems and everything in place to ensure it's successful.
Yeah. I mean, the two conversations that I've had recently are with people that are close to retirement age, business owners. They want to get out. They've got to a point where they realise that the business needs some streamlining, automating, but they are very old school in their words, and they've not got the energy or the motivation to take it to that next step.
Got you.
So I it's great because there's opportunities.
Yeah.
But they're not going to maximize the value.
Wow. It's so interesting. So let's imagine we've got a founder who's listening right now, and they've got a great mission-driven business, but chaotic finances.
Okay.
If they had 90 days to clean it up before meeting a potential buyer, what should they do first?
Yeah, I think getting help quickly, and if you've got a good accountant, then great. There are some good ones out there who you want somebody who's commercially minded.
Yeah.
And not just going to be looking at a balance sheet and thinking about the value of the business. So finding the right support and right help, looking at your finances, making sure that you've got good management information, exclude personal expenses. Somebody within my network mentioned a conversation they'd had the other day with somebody who was trying to sell their successful electrical business, and the results were showing that there was, I think, 300k worth of profit in the business. And he was going, well, it's because that's a low profit for tax reasons, but actually we're making 500k.
Oh my God.
And you're kind of like, well, you can't have the tax efficiencies and also want to sell your business for more. So I was just,
my question immediately went to, where have they hidden that extra 200?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know where. I mean, I suspect that they're putting through some dodgy expenses, or they're not declaring something, or I don't know.
Yeah,
it happens.
I love the fact that people are so genius to kind of work these workarounds that they kind of put in place, but then it comes back to bite them in the backside when it's time to sell and leave. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just kind of, like great, but these are your accounts and this is what we're going to be going with. But I think also creating a story, a compelling story of their business. What is it that we do? What is our value proposition? What's our growth potential? And kind of bring it to life. I think, and that's important.
Make it make sense for people that are coming in, and because a lot of times, a side question has just popped in my head. A lot of times when acquisitions and stuff happen, it's not necessarily somebody that's already working in the sector. It's somebody that's kind of buying up businesses because they know that they're successful and profitable. So your story has to be clear and clean because they might not necessarily have a picture of the sector. They just want to see that whatever you're doing is generating a profit, right?
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I think, myself personally, I have worked across all sectors.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm sector agnostic.
I love that.
Seems to be a term. So, you know, I've seen a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not a specialist in one particular sector,
Mhm.
but I understand businesses.
Yeah.
You know, they all have the same mechanics.
That's it.
So yeah, for me,
Mhm.
I mean, I was looking at some estate agents the other day, and I'm like, okay, like I can get my head around how this
Yeah.
works, but yeah, what is the story?
Yeah.
And that really helped to kind of understand, well, this is how this works, and that's because I'm a big picture person,
Yeah.
and I, you know, like I said, I've moved away from spreadsheets, death by spreadsheet. So I want things to be clear
That's it.
at a kind of high level.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
They have to make it make sense.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna come and want to buy your business if it doesn't make sense. Yeah, the picture has to be set, it has to be clear, and you have to make people understand it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's somebody that's stepping in to buy it that just doesn't understand the sector, never worked in it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I had another question for you. Like, I feel like HR and finance, where like, you know, people see us in a back room somewhere, we're hidden behind the tool cabinets, nobody ever gets to see us. And I feel like our roles are key and really important to making businesses successful. So how do you think that HR and finance can partner together to get great outcomes for founders?
Another good question. Wow. I think collaboration is like massively important. And I've just been listening to an audio book by Dan Sullivan, which is Who Not How.
Yeah.
So it's the philosophy around, you know, kind of partnering with people and working as a team. Because I mean, there's loads of stuff that I'm not great at,
Yeah.
or that I'm not interested in, or that drains my energy.
Yeah.
So I think to partner up, and you know, for founders, like a lot of the business owners that I've worked with over the years, they're on their own, you know, and I go in and I'm like, we need to create a management team. It doesn't have to be a formal leadership team or anything, but you know, who are the key players in your business, and let's all work together. And I think a lot of owners have just been like, I don't know, they kind of just want to keep it close. Yeah,
my precious.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And you know, seeing the value in opening up and you know, working with trusted people, and you can get so much more done. And yeah, back to your proper question, HR and finance, you know, I think can work massively well together, you know, as long as we're understanding what the other person is trying to achieve with the founder, and to just really bring the energy as well. And to have the support. I think, you know, we all need support.
That's it. I feel like we form like an amazing trifecta with, you know, the founder at the top, and then you've got finance and HR that kind of sit at either side. And what we do is we enable that founder to have a clear picture across their business with regards to the finance and with regards to their people. And that gives them like a full picture of the things that are really, really great, and then a full picture of where the gaps are and how we support them in filling those gaps or amending them or shifting stuff around if there's not necessarily budget to hire an amazing team. But we can do things that enable the founder to get to their end goal, which is growth and success, you know. So I feel like it's a really, really great partnership, and it's important.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people focus on revenue driving, like salespeople and the go-to-market person.
Yeah.
But I feel if you pull out our functions, it's like a house of cards, right?
Yeah.
The business just topples. And I think a lot of people forget that when they're making their hires or looking at their teams and stuff, or you know, what's important and who should be at my leadership table. A lot of times we're missing or we're told about things after the fact, and actually
Yeah.
we're meant to be there at the beginning.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm always told, oh, it's fine, we've got a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, well,
It's a
bookkeeper
difference.
isn't really the
Yeah.
same. Like,
Yeah.
they're needed, so valuable. But you know, are they giving you the information? Are they kind of looking at where you're going commercially?
That's it. The strategy's missing.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what we do, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what we bring, and that's what we, I don't know, that's where our skills lie.
We're I feel like we're 10 steps ahead of everybody else. Like when you look at the numbers, you can see the curve. Like we talk about the startup curve, the J curve. You can look at the books and you can, I'd say 95% of the time finance can target and know where the person's going to hit in the next 12, 24, 60 months, like how the business is going to flow. And then you've got the HR person who's strategic, like, well, if you want to hit that thing at 60 months, like, you need to be bringing in people now in this area because they have to be trained up, they have to understand your business, and they have to be up and running by the time that rush hits.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're kind of like a little bit like fortune tellers. Like we're looking into the future, and we're like, right, you're gonna hit it, but you're not gonna hit it unless you put all of these plans in place and you do it very quickly and you do it well. So yeah, like instead of us getting those emergency calls, like everything is wrong.
I know, and that does happen, and I guess it's human nature to a certain extent. It's like, okay, even though I know this is coming up, I'll wait till the last possible moment to do it. But you can put plans in place, like scenario planning. What if this happens? Are we ready to kind of pull the lever and go for it? You don't have to execute everything, but
in one go,
yeah. To have the right people alongside. I mean, I guess I've found it frustrating where owners aren't, they're not collaborating, they don't have all the people, and it makes what I'm trying to do a lot more challenging because of that. If I can be like, right, well, it's Sim doing this and who's doing that, and what's your IT support, and we can just work together, and it's better value for money.
That's
essentially
in the long term. It's like so interesting because it is 9 times out of 10 you start a business and you're by yourself. I'm working with somebody at the moment, and they are the business, just as you said, like they are doing the engineering, they're doing this, they're doing that, and then you see them as the bottleneck within their own business, like invoices this high, things that haven't been put on the systems and all of those things. And it's just like you have to get out of your own way. You have to get out of your own way. You have to trust people like us to come in and go, right, we got you. Let us help you. Like, please let us help you. It's like it hurts me to see people when they're struggling like that. Knowing full well if they take the help, like what is already a great business then becomes a successful business. It also takes away the risk. Look at COVID, right? So how many businesses shut down because the person that was running it got sick, or a family member got sick, or something happened, and because there was no fallback, no backup plan, nobody in place like us, fractional, that could be like, we're here to support you. That's your business gone, right? It takes 6 to 12 months off to look after somebody, rebuild whatever else. That's all your clientele gone. That's you starting from scratch again. And you can have somebody like us in place that support you so that doesn't happen.
Yeah, definitely. Something just springs to mind when you're talking about that scenario. A lot of it is that to coin a phrase, mental load. And if a founder is carrying that all on their own, be it with maybe friends, family, partner, etc., and kind of, but there's nobody that's as invested. Whereas getting the right people in and supporting on that journey,
Yeah.
you know, I think it just would help so much, and you can have clearer vision because you're not stressed about it all by yourself. And I mean, I know it running the
Yeah.
consultancy business, and as do you.
Yeah, definitely.
It's tough.
It can be very, very tough.
It can be, and you know, you procrastinate maybe on some decisions. And it's just sometimes when you get out of your own head and you
Yeah.
know we have conversations or
That's it.
speak to other,
You speak to somebody else that can see your problem from a different angle.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I don't know if you find some of it is not wanting to show vulnerability.
Mhm.
You know, like I said about keeping the cards close to
Yeah.
your chest, and
Yeah.
you know, I don't want to even let my team in, even though
Yeah.
like that's what they're there to do, and I'm paying them, and they've got contracts.
Mm.
But I think it's like, you know, a lot of people feel that they should be able to do it all.
Yeah.
So there's, yeah, it's that psychology.
Yeah, I think you are definitely right, because I've seen people do that, and it's like, I should know everything, I should be everything, but actually what they're doing is creating damage. They're literally hindering themselves and they're hindering their business. When I see founders and people that I've worked with and they're like that, and they've started to build a team, then what's happening is the team then feels like they're not trusted, like they don't feel like they're respected, or they're being micromanaged. You know, how are you going to bring somebody in that's a specialist and then you micromanage them? Like, the whole essence of bringing them in is to help you grow, and you kind of have to let them kind of work and flow. So yeah, it's really, really interesting. And as founders, sometimes we do have to admit that we have, some people say weaknesses, others say development opportunities, which whatever you might call it. Like, you, if you have a development opportunity or a weakness, you have to admit to it and find somebody that helps you get out of your own way and create success. Because as you've said, right, you do that, you get your stuff in order, you run your dashboard, your simplified dashboard that you can run through, like as you said, Xero or any other accounting stuff. If you can't necessarily afford a person to come in, you are adding value to your business. Every one of those steps that you take, when you step out of your own way, when you're realizing that, and when you source that help and look for those things, you're adding value. Every step that you take adds a bit of value.
Yeah, it does. And something that just popped into my head while we were chatting through that was an example that somebody mentioned of Timpson shoe menders, and you know,
I used to work for them when they were sketches back in the day.
did
One of my first
you?
jobs.
Did you? And I was really impressed by learning about the business model. And did you know they've even got a director of happiness?
I love that.
Freaking love that.
I love that.
You know, but it feels like such an open business, you know, where they have partners, you know, their team are partners, and everybody is kind of, their views are listened to. So all of the, you know, the good management techniques and philosophies are ingrained. And, you know, the profits are extraordinary. See? So it works.
Happiness builds profits. I'm definitely aligned with that. And people are your assets. I laugh, but I'm not laughing. I have dealt with so many leaders, so many founders and individuals that literally don't understand why their company's tanking, why the profits are tanking, why there's an issue, why the engagement survey's gone down. And then you look at how the leadership team treat people, what they've done for the culture. Then they look at HR and go, fix it. And it doesn't matter what we come in and try and do. If the leadership team are not showing by example, are not creating a culture of trust, of honesty, of clarity, because clarity is a big one. Because like, sometimes they'll talk to each other at the top, but the goals are not necessarily aligned properly. So then what's happening is you've got teams that instead of collaborating, as you said, together and working in harmony, they're actually going against each other because their leadership, their pillars, have set goals that don't don't work
Yeah.
together, you know, and that generates unhappiness, that generates, you know, frustration, that generates like toxicity. And that's when you see like star performers go, right, that's it, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave today because I've done it, I've had enough.
And
you know.
and this stuff's been around for years.
Oh God, it has been.
So why don't leaders, some leaders, why don't they get it? Why aren't they doing things differently? Why are they just coming in,
Yeah.
culling the workforce,
Yeah.
you know, like not looking after good people, not listening?
I think in all the years that I've done this, you've got a leader that leads because they want people to grow. They understand the why behind their business. They want to work with people that are passionate and they empower that passion. And then you have leaders that are leaders because they want power. And the ones that want power are not necessarily growing their workforce. They're not speaking life into their workforce. They're just enjoying the fact that they're overarching, they're sitting over the workforce, and they have all of these people reporting into them. And that's the difference. That is definitely difference every time. And I've seen it, and it's quite horrifying to see. And it's always these people that are like, yes, I'm the king of the world. Everybody else underneath them is just literally unhappy, drudging into work every day, like looking for the exit as soon as they can get it. So, yeah, it's hard. Like we see it, it's really, really hard.
Yeah.
I'm just scanning down my questions because I want to make sure that we're giving everybody everything that they need to know. I think one of the last questions I suppose I have for you is what's a common piece of advice about selling a business that you think is like outdated or dangerous for founders to believe or be told?
Good question.
Mm.
I would say that in general, in business, there is this whole turnover, increase it, and turnover being vanity and profit being sanity, and that kind of thing. So it is true, you know, like it's not about just increasing the turnover and everything else will work.
Yeah.
And there are some really successful businesses that actually don't want to just drive more revenue, you know, because I guess they've hit a plateau, or they're comfortable where they are, or looking at their goals. It works more efficiently at that level. You've got to find out what that level
base point is.
And I think if everything else is working underneath and it's systemized, it's streamlined, it's as cost effective as it can be, and you've got the infrastructure, then great, go out and grow and get the revenue. But a lot of businesses, when they get to a certain stage of life and income, the infrastructure needs to change. And I think that can be around kind of 3 to 4 million revenue, and then systems are outdated and maybe some of the people are outdated, and you've got to really look at that and work with it, so
understand it and know, because sometimes like being stuck and keeping the same people, the same systems, it can kill everything that you've built. That plateau then starts to decline if you're not willing to take that look at it. Okay.
It does.
I love that. Just understanding and making people know what they have to do. Oh, this is a good one. What is one line or one thing that you look at in the accounts that instantly tells you whether a business is healthy or whether it's secretly in trouble?
I guess there's a few lines. I mean, the gross profit and operating profit are really important, because anything below operating profit can be manipulated, or it's tax, it's depreciation, etc. So generally looking at those lines, and having a look at the balance sheet, is it healthy?
I love it. So I had like another question for you. What is the hardest conversation you've had with a founder about money, and how did it change the way that you work with clients now?
Okay. Something immediately springs to mind, and it was awkward because I'd been working with this client for a number of months, had quite a good picture of the business, that there were many improvements that needed to be made, and having conversations around cash and how, even though the owner was increasing borrowings, there was going to come a point where it was not solvent. And from a personal point of view, because I think I do invest in the people that I work with, and people I meet just in general in life. So it's difficult to kind of say, right, you haven't listened to my advice over the last few months. We were going to do this, we were going to do that, we were going to do that. Now you're borrowing more. Now you're, and it was a personal conversation, because they don't want to be told that, because they clearly haven't listened in the past. And but I think that in hindsight, it took a while to get to that point of complete honesty and openness. So how's that changed me going forward is, I'm there to advise and to add value, and I can't be just nicey and it's okay, it's all gonna be fine. So it's just being open and honest, but in the right way, and being support. I'm there to support. I want to help, but if you're not going to do things differently,
you're going to get the same result.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I think personally, sometimes those kind of discussions can be hard.
Especially if the person's not willing to. To hear.
And a lot of change is not easy. And you've got to be a certain kind of person, or to be really invested in your mind and moving forward, and having your why, as you mentioned before. I mean, I've learned about the why over many years, but it's only the last year or so that I'm actually looking at it. What is my why? What do I want?
Why?
I've got a vision board now.
That's it. It's always good to have. And it is, like, as you said earlier, with the fact of people wanting to exit businesses and sell businesses, they haven't thought about what's the why, how they get there. Like, if you are the linchpin, like, your why changes because you have to factor that in. That changes the time frame, that changes the scale, it changes your responsibility of selling this business. Like, it takes a little bit longer. So understanding the why behind everything is so key. It's so key.
It is, and for the people that we work with, like they're busy. They're busy fools, and people can just get in that cycle. So stepping back and looking at kind of your why. I mean, it's just something that they rarely will do.
That's it.
But I think allowing them that opportunity, and kind of getting them in a room or whatever, and being like, right, so where are we going? And what are we doing?
What do you want to do? Like, tell me what you want to do, and tell me where you're at right now. I need to understand this, because they're lost in their own head. It's like having a internal maze that they're kind of lost within, and having somebody like you helps them to see the pathway, the clear pathway of where they get to, right?
Definitely.
And I think that is so key. Like, having somebody like you to come in and say, like, you're kind of a little bit lost in the weeds here. Like, this is what your financials look like. This is what you want to do. Like, this is where you want to be. But, like, certain things have to change for you to get there. And I hope that you hear me and listen. But you're dealing with people with empathy, and I think that's the bit that's different, right? Because we've said a lot of financial people might walk in with their spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations, and it's death by PowerPoint that's gone completely over a person's head. But if you speak and work with empathy, and you understand their why and where they're trying to get to, I feel like the understanding becomes a lot easier and a lot clearer, right? So they can maybe change the narrative in their heads a lot easier to get to where they need to be, instead of it being so hard. you know.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be as hard.
Yeah,
I mean, I've worked with various life coaches, business coaches over the years, and them asking me to do my plan and looking forward.
yeah,
Sometimes I'm uncomfortable with that. So
yeah,
like I get it, I see it from both
yes.
sides. I don't always practice what I preach,
Mm.
but I'm here to help people
Yeah.
to plan and look forward and
Love
talk.
that. Love that. Financial business coach. That's where you're at.
Sometimes I'm a relationship coach. Sometimes, I mean, like you work with these people,
Yeah,
and it's
that's it.
lovely. You
It's
end up.
lovely. You end up understanding everything, like, you step into all these different roles, but the outcome is always, well, that you hope that
Yeah.
90% of the time the outcome is going to be something great. And
Mhm.
it's like being really proud when it is. Like,
Mhm.
I had a part in that, you
Yeah,
know. So it's always
exactly.
really good.
Yeah. Yeah, there are positives.
Yeah, they definitely are. So look, I wanted to say thank you so much for being a guest on the specialist podcast, the specialist chat. If you have a business, you're a founder, and you are thinking about maybe exiting, or you need some advice about the next stage of your evolution, please look up Laura Hicks. Please look at her business, Clear Exit.
Partners Limited.
That's it. So it's edit. Please look at her business, Clear Exit Partners. Reach out to Laura. You can find her on LinkedIn. We'll put her details on the video. All right, Laura, thank you so much for coming to spend time with me today. If you are a founder who's thinking about maybe exiting their business or looking at the next stage of evolution with regards to your business and its growth, please look up Laura Hicks and Clear Exit Partners. You can find Laura on LinkedIn, and I will also be putting her details on this video. You really do need to look after yourself and your businesses, and I will always find people that will speak to you truthfully and with passion about the next stage. So thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I truly
We've had
appreciate
we've had
it.
a nice chat.
It's a nice chat. I love when chats are lovely. So thank you so much, and hopefully I will see you on the next one.